Hi there, my name's Thomas O'Regan, and between me and my wife, we own an 11 property portfolio which we've grown in the last 3.5 years. And today I wanted to answer the question, how should you invest differently when interest rates are changing or going up? And the reality is, it really depends on what strategy you are using. But generally, if interest rates are going up, it doesn't change a sound investment strategy. It shouldn't change a sound investment strategy because if you have a sound investment strategy, you should be able to invest when the rates are low, when the rates are high. So that's my take on that. But a lot of people get discouraged when it comes to the property market and think it's to base what's going on with the rates for a reason for them to sit on the sidelines. And I think the best time to invest in real estate is always now. Yesterday is always the best time to invest in real estate. And if you have a sound strategy, you should be able to invest in real estate when the interest rates are going down or when the interest rates are going up. But there are a few things you should take into consideration if the interest rates are low versus if the interest rates are high. Now, for me, if I was investing in negatively cash flowing properties, like a lot of people do, I would be very, very, very concerned if interest rates were rising. But because I don't do that, I invest in cash flow positive properties, meaning when I buy a property, I want the rent to cover all the expenses and the mortgage. It doesn't really matter to me if the interest rates are higher or lower. It has no effect. All I need to do is just, in principle, find a deal that cash flows and covers the increased interest rate. So that's why, for me, whether the interest rates are high or low, I am always investing. But to be honest, if I think back to when I started investing in property, I've learned to invest through my own mistakes. And the first two properties I bought, they were very negative cash flow when the interest, or actually they were pretty much neutral cash flow or a little bit negative cash flow when the interest rates were low. And then when the interest rates started going up, the property started going very, very negative cash flow. And there is absolutely no way that I could have pushed through that period and bought more properties, because it was far too expensive for me to own those two properties alone, let alone saving up another deposit to buy more properties or taking on more equity, more debt to acquire more properties that way, and then buy properties in that same model of negatively cash flowing assets. But luckily I learned from my mistakes, and I learned, I don't want to invest in properties that are negative cash flow, because it means that my strategy is totally dependent on the market, my strategy was totally dependent on the market, whereas my strategy now, it's beneficial in different markets, but the reality is I can invest in any market. I just have to apply my principles to the deal itself. My principles are cash flow positive, good capital growth potential, and a high cash on cash return. And as long as I'm ticking all those boxes, it really doesn't matter what's going on with the interest rates. I invested for when the interest rates were at the bank, when the interest rates were 3%, and I invested all the way through until they went up to 8%, and the interest rate never stopped me from buying property. And the reality is, when the interest rates are high, if you can make a deal work when the interest rates are much higher, then that will mean the deal will be just so much better if the interest rates are to drop. Like some of the properties that I bought, where the cash flow worked with the interest rate of 8 or 9%, they are extremely positively cash flowed now that the interest rates have dropped down. which just makes the deal better and better. So it's sometimes making a deal work when it's really hard to find deals because of the interest rate environment is a good thing, because it just means the deal's so much better when the lending is a bit easier. So hopefully that helped, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.